What is up, everyone? The Train Freak is here, and I have a customer's locomotive through the hobby shop that I'm affiliated with, which is Arkansas Traveler Hobbies out of Bald Knob, Arkansas. And Rusty, if you're watching this, I know you like the name of that town, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and call you out on that one. Haha. So, what I've got this is a Athearn Genesis SD70ACe, and it originally came with Tsunami Sound, which is the original Tsunami, not Tsunami-2 that's out today. And this guy's decoder fried. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take out the Tsunami-1, and I've got a Tsunami-2 PNP board that's going to go in its place. So before we get to that, I always like to remind all my viewers to, hit that subscribe button and, make sure you fill in the bell so that way you receive future notifications on all my videos. And, thumbs up. Let's see if I can get that in the camera. There we go. Thumbs up. That really, really helps. Gets, my videos out there, to the public with YouTube's algorithms. Okay, so basically, all we're going to need today as far as electronics wise is a Tsunami-2 decoder. And this is a PNP board for EMD diesels, part number 885013. Now, just to let you know, Tsunami or Soundtraxx does have one that's called an EMD2. And it does come with extra prime movers. So depending on the prime mover in the locomotive that you're using, for EMD locomotives would depend on if you're going to use this EMD or EMD2. For example, I have a SD45T-2, and because it's a 20 piston, diesel prime mover, I would use that EMD2. Typically, those with the 16 cylinders are going to use this one. And that's really your only difference. Alright. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and get the shell off. Alright. Let's see here. So first thing I'm going to look at, and I'll show you as we get on camera, we're looking for where's all the screws at. Let me get it this way. We know we got the coupler boxes, and just to make note that we can tell that this has been broken. Somebody did a really nice weathering job on this thing. So we do have two screws holding in the coupler boxes here. Now on the Athearn Genesis, you can't really see it on camera, but right here and right here is also extra screw spots. So those are going to be the first ones I take out. And it does help if you have a magnetic screwdriver. So that way you can just easily pull the screws out. And since I'm over here, I'm going to go ahead and pull off the coupler and coupler box. See if I can get that screw to come out first. And sometimes they don't want to come out, and that's okay. Nice thing about having a foam cradle is you can always take the locomotive and dump it over. There we go, got that one out. And last but not least, we're going to get this one over here out. And sometimes the screws do not like to come out, so sometimes you can use a pair of tweezers or some needle nose pliers to try to get them out, or maybe you can just take it and shake it as long as you're holding it firmly to see if you can get those screws to come out. Because without these screws here being out, we are not going to be able to get the shell off. like it don't want to come out of that coupler box. Alright, I got the bottom of the box. There we go. Alright, got one out. It feels kind of like it's partially glued in there from oh, there we go, from the airbrush weathering job that has been done, which I did not do. Somebody else did that one, so I cannot claim that. Alright, now since we've got all 4 screws out, we can take the whole locomotive, flip it over, and what we're going to want to do is gently pick up on the shell and see if we can work it loose. And then as we do, we want to roll it back so that way we can see the wires. Okay? Alright. And just kind of see what kind of wires they have here. Because basically what we're going to do is unsolder every single connection here. Let me grab my board. Okay. And we're going to try to line it up. Alright. So that's our board. Rightfully so. And we need to kind of look and figure out, okay, what is what? Now I'm seeing here this is a wire I've never seen before, and it looks like it's kind of coming from the lights. It says +1,4. I don't know exactly what that's about. And I'm thinking these have the incandescence in it. With that very, very, very small wire for the ditch lights. Okay. But I'm thinking these are going to be incandescents. I don't think these are going to be LEDs. If they were LEDs, we should have had a resistor on there. So let me explain this real quick. So on this end, this is representing the back headlight. This would be for your headlight itself. There's a rectangle. This one is an oval. This would be your common. You would need at least a 1000 ohm resistor, preferably a 1000 ohm resistor, soldered into this before you solder your lights to it. Okay, and you could actually use one or the other. The common, whether it's up here or here, is the same. So if you wanted to save a resistor, you could actually wire all the lights, you know, common through that resistor, no matter, you know, what the function is. You know, headlight, rear light, function 3 through function 6. But if you have incandescent bulbs, you don't want to wire to these LED commons. You're actually going to want to wire right here, and it says 1.5 volt, and that is for the incandescent bulbs. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Of course, these first two here are going to be for the speakers. These are our motor, and then the outside ones are your rail pickups, and you definitely want to have, you know, per each. Okay? I did verify that these are incandescent bulbs. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So one of the first things that I like to do is go ahead and flux up and get some paste and solder on the board itself. So I'm just using a toothpick here, and I'm going to just put some flux on the contacts that I plan on using. And let's see here, we're going to use that one and that one. And then this just kind of helps me as far as I know which ones I'm working with. Alright, got that one. We're also going to use F3. I'm going to come back and do the two speakers later. See if I can push a little more up. There we go. And then I'm also going to do the two motor leads separate as well. So alright, so we're just going to set this off to the side. Stick that in the crane folder like that. I've got my soldering iron. And of course you're going to need solder. So we're going to see if we can get some solder on here. Alright, there we go. And I'm basically just trying to get a good bubble on the board. I don't know if y'all can see those three that I put on there. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. And that flux is really good at just sucking that solder right up. And sometimes you just got to be careful to watch out for these other. Come on, there we go. I might have got too much on that one. Okay. So, I'm going to put my solder off to the side. Now the real fun begins of disconnecting wires. So to make this easy, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and see if we can't get this shell here disconnected. So alright. We've got one light side off. And let's see if we can get rid of the FX here, FX3. See if I can heat that side up. Alright, I got that one off. I'm going to go ahead and pull off this 1.4 volt. Alright, got that one out. And then last but not least, we're going to get the front headlight off. Okay. So now our shell has been fully disassembled. So I'm just going to move it out of the way. And I guess since I've got my speakers here, I need to go ahead and get some flux and solder on those, and I can go ahead and just get those wired in. Alright. So just dab some flux on that one. That's our speaker positive and speaker negative. Alright. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my red one. We'll start with red, because this on here is showing up as speaker positive. Oops, and I forgot to make a solder bubble. Let me do that real quick. Get a little more on there. All right. There we go. Now we got our solder. I'm gonna go ahead and take the red. See if I can't move that a little closer. And go ahead and get our red. Woo! Almost burned myself. Alright, I got that wired up. We're going to do the same thing with the black wire, which is our speaker negative. And go ahead and wire this one in. There we go. So the speaker is now officially on the new decoder. And let's see here if we can go ahead and I'm going to see if I can go ahead and pop this one off. Because if I can pop this one off, ooh, like so. Okay, let me look here. Yeah, that's not going to work the way I want it to. Of course, they don't have to make things easy. Alright. We're going to go ahead and try to pull up our rail connectors. Alright, I got that one off. Huh, it soldered right back to it. How funny. Alright, now that one's off. And I'm going to have to use some tweezers. So I don't burn myself. Because I've done it a few times and y'all, that's not fun. It's really not. Alright, we're going to do the same thing on this side. Come on. Alright, got that one off. And we'll do the same with this one here. Alright. That's off. And then I'm going to go ahead and take our wire feed, or the motor feed off too. Because we won't need it. Okay. Now, I should be able to go ahead and take that decoder off. We'll move it out of the way. And we're going to put our new decoder right in the same spot. Now, we need to get some flux for the motor connectors, or the motor feed. There we go. Alright, I went ahead and made those two bubbles. Now let's see if we can get our, let's see here. Of course, red's going to be motor positive. So we'll need to get that one put in first. And it always makes it tricky when you have to use tweezers. Alright, that one's in. And that one's on as well. So now our motor is connected. Now we're going to go ahead and work on getting left and right rails. And let's see here. Of course, let me see which one is which. Okay, that is that one. And I'm having to look under the tape here and follow to make sure that I have the right wire on the right side, because if you don't, you will definitely mess something up, and that's not cool. So, yeah, definitely do not mess. Get your wires backwards, because you definitely don't want to short these things. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is use my tweezers just to grab my wire. And before I do that, my wire is kind of frayed. So I'm going to see if I can maybe get that to act a little better. I don't know. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to use that wire. And ooh, that's not what I wanted. Get back up there. There we go. Let's see if I can do this one a little easier now. Well, got that one on. I'm not a big fan of how this one here turned out. I think I can make that work. Okay. So we got one side connected. This side is going to be even trickier because it is all twisted together. So I'm just going to untwist it. So that way I know what's what. And now since I know, I'm just going to take the other one and twist around it. Like that. And I'm going to go ahead and get this one wired soldered on. Alright, that one is soldered. And the trick thing is I want to go under my speaker wires. Like so. And there we have that. I'm going to pull that captain tape off and re-tape my wire down. There we go. Alright, so now we've got the front rail, the back rail, or the left rail, the right rail for both the front and the back, all wired in and soldered. We've got the motor feed. And we got the speaker. So now the only other thing that we're going to have to get connected is the lighting. So we're going to bring the shell back way we had it. Oh, make sure I don't take you all the way out of the camera. There we go. And this orange one here acted as a common, so I want to get that one connected first. And these are incandescents, so this will definitely be the first one we want to get wired up. Alright, that one is connected. And then our ditch lights are used by this white wire, which is it's going to go to this here FX3. Of course, they always got to make these so simple. And y'all, I can feel the heat of this here soldering iron. These white wires just want to keep curling up. Got it. There we go. Now we're going to take the green for this side and get that soldered back in like so. And I'm trying to see if I can, there we go. Get this side resoldered, and voila, we have our new Tsunami-2 board connected. So to go over again, we got rail, back headlight. We got our common for incandescent, FX3, that's our ditch lights. Speaker negative, speaker positive, motor negative, motor positive, rail, and then front headlight. So now what I'm going to do is take all of this and we're going to gently tuck it all back in. I'm going to move this thing out of the way so I can see. And sometimes it's easier if you go ahead and flip it upside down while you're trying to tuck your wires in. Okay? Because if you do it, a lot of times it'll just easily go back and close. And there you have it. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these screws, just the 2 screws that go in the chassis, and those are the only ones that I want to put in, because now what we're going to do is go and test to see if this works. Alright, well, you know, if you're hearing the sheep and the cows, you know you're at Y junction. And so that way they're not a disturbance, I'm going to take them off the track. There's the sheep. There's the cows. Okay. And I could have muted them, but I can't remember what numbers I programmed those decoders, but that's okay. So, stop. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and get the locomotive set on the rail. And that's a good sign that we've got sound. Now, default's going to be address 3, so select loco 3. See if we got sound. See if we got movement. Oh, I must have hit a dirty track. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little dirty. And his wheels could be dirty too. So if he's not got good clean wheels, that will cause it. But that's okay. As long as we got it somewhere where we've got some power, that's fine. I'll probably have to go and clean the wheels. Do we got headlight? No headlight. Ditch lights? No ditch lights. Let's see if we got a rear light. No lights. So I'm gonna have to see and figure out if these are maybe LEDs in here, and if they are, then I'll have to move that orange wire and slap on a resistor. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that next. So we will be back. Alright, so I did not film this. I was actually on the phone with the customer talking to him, and he did tell me that they did redo these as LEDs. So I went ahead and took that common wire and desoldered it from the 1.5 volt, which is right there. I took a 1000 ohm resistor and soldered it to that oval connection here. It doesn't matter if you do it to this one or you could do it to that one there. Either or, doesn't matter. It does the same thing. But you do have to have that resistor on there. And then I soldered that common to the resistor. And then, of course, I cut the legs short. And I'm going to save those for when I make some capacitor battery packs. And so I'm just going to fold that down on there like so. And we're going to take it back out to the layout and see if it works. So be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I know I don't have the shell all the way on. I get it. But looky there. We got headlights. And if I hit direction, we got backup headlights. And until I get this programmed, I can't turn the ditch lights on because I think it's a function 23, if I'm not mistaken. And so now what I need to do, and I am aware that he does have a broken handrail, and he's aware of it too, so there we go. Now I just need to get this thing put back together, and we will go ahead and try to program this thing. And I'm going to go ahead and get some CV numbers pre-done, so that way we're not trying to scramble. So I will be back here in a few minutes. Alright, I'm back, and hopefully we'll have this thing wrapped up. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of quick programming. I will let you know that the wheels are so dirty that it will not move. It's not my track, it's the wheels. And I would take the locomotive off and show you, but you're just going to have to trust me that the wheels are very dirty. But let's go ahead and get into some basic programming. So we are set to Loco 3, and I'm just going to set this down so that way you can see me do the whole thing. We're going to want to hit our program button here, and it's coming up program on the main, so we just want to hit enter. And we're programming Loco 3, so we'll hit enter. First thing we're going to do is give it an address, so we're going to hit 1 for ADR. And we're going to give it a long address, so we're going to hit 1 for that. Our address number that we want to use is 8647. So we're going to do 8647. Press enter. Alright. So now it says we're on Loco 8647. Let's hit the horn real quick. And you heard the horn. So we know that we are on the right locomotive. Let's go back into program. We're going to select a few different things. Alright. We're going to program 8647, so enter. This time we're going to hit 2 for CV. And the first CV that I want to program is 128. This is the master volume, so I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to set it to half, 128. And you probably heard it quiet down a little bit. I'm going to go to 129. This is the horn. And I'm going to set that to 96. I'm going to go a little lower. Alright, and then I'm going to go to CV115. This is the horn type. And this style locomotive, SD70ACe, had a K5 LLA on it. So that is actually option 8. So this is stuff that I've already looked up. So I hit enter on that. I'm going to go to CV123 and hit enter. And we're going to set, this is the prime mover option. We're going to set this to EMD 710 G3C-T2. That is also option number 8. And because I did that, now it's going to start the reboot. Because now we have a different prime mover selected. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to do CV131. This is the prime mover's volume. We're going to go to 96. Tone it down a little bit. And then the last thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and exit out because I forgot to turn the headlight on. We got a headlight. And the ditch lights are not on, and those are actually assigned to FX3. So, per the instructions, we're going to go back into program on the main, program 8647, 2 for CV, and I want to set CV33. This is function mapping, okay? And if we set this to a value of 17, and the way to explain that is the headlight is value 1, FX3 is supposed to be value of 16, you add those together, you get 17. Once I did that, now we got ditch lights. Okay? To keep the ditch lights on even in reverse direction, we could go to CV34 and set that to a value of 18, 2 being the rear headlight, and you could keep your ditch lights on that way, but that is, you know, an option if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's totally up to you. For this instance, I'm just going to have those on. So anytime we hit headlight, they both go off. And if we change our direction, headlights go dim. Come to the other side, we got headlights on that side, direction again. Headlights off, or back lights off, and then all 3 lights come on. And so that is basically doing our basic programming on this locomotive. It is now ready to roll once I get the wheels cleaned. So, and it also needs some general maintenance too. I looked at the gears and stuff in there and they're pretty dry, so I'll have to get some general maintenance to it. So, but as far as this video tutorial of replacing a decoder in an SD70ACe Athearn Genesis and programming it. And eventually I will be doing another video on doing, I think it's a Gevo. So it'll be another Union Pacific locomotive. So, alright guys, well, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, you know, fill in that bell. Thumbs up, that really helps. And you're more than welcome to comment. And other than that, y'all be safe out there. I hope y'all have a great